I don't mean to be sexist, and I don't want to say any sexist statements, but I do think that women are better in every way.
Women are better in every way? Let's test that theory.
Anything men can do, we can do better.
I love watching this clip, seeing her facial expressions of like pure horror as she's watching what manual labor for all of these men actually looks like. She's thinking, in no universe would I be doing any of that. Working on an oil rig, no way, it's going to mess up my hair. I'm going to break my nails. No, thank you. I want to wear slippers. I want to stay home and live my soft girl life. But this woman is not a hypocrite because she doesn't think that women can be men. She doesn't think that one sex is better than the other.
Reject delusions, embrace gender differences.
This is the central theme of this channel, is that men and women are fundamentally, biologically and psychologically different. The whole culture war notion of superiority is ridiculous. Who is better, men or women, is one of the stupidest questions that you can ask. And yes, I'm calling out any men in my audience who still come from that male supremacist perspective, like men are better from women. You still don't get it. That's just as moronic as women saying that they're better. We were not designed to be in competition with each other. We quite literally, on a biological level, need each other to survive, to reproduce. We're meant to cooperate. And yes, in order to facilitate that cooperation, it makes sense that we're quite different, that we've specialized and we're skillful at different things. But in this age of social media where everyone's just so deep in their echo chambers, so many people have stupidly taken different to mean better or worse. That's how you get so many modern women being so viciously sexist against men, completely devaluing them. It's because they have a huge female bias. They think, I'm a woman, I like women things. Women are great. Women things are the pinnacle. That's the highest that you can aspire to. I look at a man and I see that he's not a woman. He's not very good at woman things. Therefore, I judge him to be a failure, something that we don't even need. Watch how clueless some of these women have gotten.
I don't think you understand.
I'm gonna make it.
If
I'm
all
okay
men
with that.
were to disappear, the immediate catastrophe that would be.
For who?
Immediate catastrophe. I don't think...
How?
Okay, so water, sewage, electricity, gas, fuel, refinement, telecommunications, IT infrastructure, road maintenance, delivery drivers, police, fire rescue.
How about other things like fracking, electrical maintenance, nuclear engineering, like the list goes on and on and on.
Critical infrastructure, if all men disappeared, would fail within hours. The telecom network, loss of power would be, because there's nobody maintaining it.
I guess I just don't care about technology enough to care if the power goes out.
If you take away 50% of any population.
That's true.
It took losing her OnlyFans before she wakes up. When he says that if all the men disappear, it will be a catastrophe, she laughs and she says, for who? And all of the women giggle. They're just completely clueless. They have no idea how dependent upon men they are. They're so casual about completely disregarding the masculine contribution. You see this play out in personal relationships too, and it is a big red flag for any woman to not see, understand, and appreciate what it is that her man does. Life has lots of difficult parts that in a relationship a man is responsible for, like providing money. When she's pregnant and raising children, somebody needs to go out into the world and generate enough money so that they have shelter, food, and water. Protection, whether it's from criminals attacking them or extreme weather events. Whatever the danger, it's the man's role to protect her, to keep her safe. Decision-making, long-term planning, thinking everything through logically, taking responsibility, accepting the burden of leadership, all of that falls on the masculine. Some women understand that and they appreciate it and they know what is expected of them in return.
So how would you cater to me?
If you were my husband,
When I'm your husband,
every way possible, there wouldn't be a second I wouldn't cater to you.
I'd be fat.
You would be. You could wake up at 3 in the morning and ask me to make you food, and I will get out of bed and I will make you food. There is nothing I wouldn't do because you are my partner and I am the woman. I wouldn't ask you to clean. I wouldn't ask you to cook. I wouldn't ask you for anything domesticated because that is my part as a woman, me personally, how I believe before anyone starts sending.
Which would mean my part would be for you
to provide and protect.
I love
You
it.
provide, you look after the household, you make sure I'm safe always, you make sure the children are safe always, and I will make sure you don't have to worry about anything else.
Makes sense, right? It's a good trade. They both benefit, both playing to their strengths. You're a man. You go do the masculine stuff that life requires. I'm a woman. I'll do the feminine stuff that life requires. We work together. We are a team and everybody wins. Common sense. Like, nobody could dispute the logic here, right? Wrong.
How to make your wife laugh in 3 easy steps. Step 1, hold her hands. Step 2, look into her eyes. Step 3, say these words. I wear the pants in this relationship.
No, you don't.
In relationships across the West, women are not holding up their end of the bargain. They still expect men to do all the masculine stuff, to protect, to provide, to lead, but they are not appreciating his contribution. They're not respecting his leadership, and they're not doing their feminine role. Now, I'm not saying that there also aren't men out there who are not fulfilling their side of the bargain. You know, they're drinking and gambling away all of the money so there's nothing left for groceries. Absolutely, that occurs. But society rightfully criticizes those men. That kind of behavior is heavily stigmatized. Men who don't step up and do their masculine role properly are roundly criticized, as they should be. But can we please have some equality here and condemn women who are failing in their contribution?
Is a man less of a man if he can't change a flat tire?
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
Is a woman less of a woman if she can't cook a meal from scratch?
We're biased, we're women.
No, that's not a good answer.
Lots of women are not doing their womanly duties, and what you're seeing more and more in modern relationships is pressure on the men to take on more of the feminine roles in the relationship. The cooking, the cleaning, the raising of children, all under the guise of equality. Women will say, I want a relationship of equals, but that is not what she wants. She doesn't want to do half of the manual labor around the house. She doesn't want to fight off half of the criminals that break into your home. The whole notion of equality is a smokescreen. The true agenda is embarrassingly selfish and simplistic. She wants to do less and to receive more, and she's happy to pervert the concept of equality to achieve that. I have no respect for women who attempt this sleight of hand, and men need to be a lot more comfortable reminding women of their proper place in a relationship.
Women say, I don't want to obey my husband. And that same woman will go to her job and her boss tells her he wants something done by Monday. She'll say, yes, sir. She'll go to the hospital. The doctor tells her, take these pills. She'll say, yes, sir. But the man that loves her and wants to provide and protect for her, she has a problem obeying him. That's why you're single.
But then how do you handle it when a woman says, I want an equal say. I want my opinion to be taken seriously. I want a relationship of equals. This is the sort of protest that you're likely to hear when you have made a decision that she doesn't agree with. She wants to quit her job and go back and study, and you say no. Based on your financial commitments, you can't afford for her to not have a job right now. Or she wants to go on holiday with friends of hers that have problematic personalities. And you say no, we're not going to spend time with such people. If you want to go on holiday with friends, we'll have to choose different people. Now, if you've married a low quality woman, then get prepared for a whole bunch of shaming and bullying. You are sexist, you are controlling, you are dismissive, you don't care about what I want. I mean, I don't know why you would stay married to a woman who's so awful. But even in normally healthy relationships with relatively high quality women, you're still likely to encounter this at some point. When you make a decision that she doesn't agree with, she might, in genuine confusion, say, well, what's going on here? Why do you get to make the decision? Isn't this a relationship of equals? Why doesn't my perspective get to count? This is where the lack of female empathy is really, really difficult to swallow, because it means that she really has no understanding of what it's like to be a man, or what kind of conditions we've agreed to accept the responsibilities and burdens under the relationship under. Because who on earth would agree to take on the decision-making, the leadership position, you know, all that burden, all that stress, all of that thought process you have to go through, unless it is coupled with the authority to make those decisions. Those two things are completely intertwined. They can't be separated. You have to say to her that I'm the one looking after the finances. I'm planning to make sure that we have enough money for retirement. I'm saving so that we can go on that ski trip every single year, which you want. I'm saving so that we can afford to send the children to private school, which you want. You said that money stresses you, that you don't understand it, you don't handle it very well, and so I agreed to look after our finances, to manage our bills. That's work, you understand. That's a stress I'm taking on, that's a burden. As a man, I agreed to do that, but only under the condition that I have the authority to make those decisions. You don't get to push all of that onto me and then at the last moment undermine my process. If I tell you that we cannot afford for you to quit your job and for you to go back to school right now, I'm happy to explain that to you. I'm happy to show you how I've reached this conclusion, and I'm happy to hear your input. But ultimately, you have to trust me. You have to respect my decision. Without that authority, why would I ever agree to take on all of these responsibilities?
If being a masculine man means accepting the burden of others, why would anyone want to be a man by that definition?
I have no idea, honey. I definitely would not want to be a man. I'll tell you that much. But men are amazing creatures, and they are beautiful. They are meant to be loved. They are meant to be cherished. And if we're going to be honest, us as women, we are supposed to cater to our men because they take care of us. They do what they can for us. Now, if that ain't your man, then that's on you.
Women, I understand it might suck not get your way, to be told no. But please understand this, your man putting his foot down is not an act of inequality. If you frame it that way, you are being extremely manipulative. Him putting his foot down and making that decision is him fulfilling your request. It's him doing what you wanted. It's being a leader. It's being masculine. You like a man who's strong and confident, right? Someone who's assertive, capable of making good decisions, planning for the future, and then executing those plans. Well, that's all he's doing. And by objecting and talking about equality in this moment, you're just making yourself look like a spoiled brat. You look like someone who doesn't appreciate what your man has been doing. You want to have your cake and eat it too. That's not equality that you're clamoring for. That's privilege. And it's kind of disgusting that you're trying to manipulate him into doing that. We all know that there's a certain luxury to living a feminine life. You don't need to think rationally and logically all of the time. You don't need to be planning and weighing options and constantly thinking everything through. The man does that while you're free to indulge your emotions, your creativity, be social, be feminine. Which is fine. We like that. We encourage that. We're attracted to femininity. But if you spend your time in the feminine, emotional state of mind, and the time has come for a decision to be made, and that decision requires careful thinking, logic, deduction, rationality, and a man has gone through a long process thinking all of that through, when you come in at the end of that process with your feminine emotional take on it, something you feel should be taken into account, please don't be surprised when your opinion does not carry equal weight to his. Why should it? He has well thought out conclusions that he's pondered over a number of days using rationality. If you come along and you disagree, not based on thoughts, but just based on your whims, your desires, your emotions, any expectation you have that your opinion should be taken as seriously as his, that isn't equality, that's bratish entitlement. But now, for the brave members of my audience, let me shine the mirror back on you. Are there feminine parts of life that she has taken responsibility over that you as a man should just shut up and not have an opinion about? Yes, absolutely. And if you're not adhering to those, you're being a hypocrite and a dickhead. So what are these feminine areas that a man should stay out of? Well, I go into detail of those in the full-length version of this video, which is available on my Patreon. As it tends to work out, I put the more critical of women parts of my videos on YouTube and the more self-improvement critical of man parts on Patreon for that more dedicated part of my audience that wants to engage in the self-improvement, the self-reflection, who's really taking this stuff seriously. If that sounds like you, then please come over to Patreon so you can see the full-length version of this video and all my other videos.